Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's time for some more peak.
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
And what do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
That's not Ben.
First I fuck that DC, clean my mess up. I don't get fucked by these tough, they gon' flex up. Bitch, I'm tryna get rich, you know that I mess up. She tryna hurt my whip, I bought a Tesla.
So boom. It's 2008, back when the only cinematic universe we had was our own Confusion.
Confusion of the highest order.
And this movie kicks off in Afghanistan with the definition of bad timing. We open up on Tony Stark, rich, smug, genius, and absolutely vibing in a Humvee with a bunch of soldiers who clearly got drafted into this man's personal podcast. AC/DC's Back in Black is blasting in the background like it's the national anthem for chaos. Tony's just chilling, whiskey glass in hand, making jokes while everyone else is just praying not to explode before payday. One of the soldiers like, "Sir, I just want to say, you're my favorite person." Tony, without missing a beat, goes, "It's great to be recognized by one's peers." Man's ego got his own zip code. Another soldier over here glazing, shyly done asks for a photo. Tony's like, "Yeah, sure. No gang signs though, buddy." And dude literally throws up a peace sign like he's about to get canceled on CNN. Tony laughs it off. "That's peace, man. I like peace." It's charming and arrogant in the same sentence. Peak Tony Stark behavior. And then boom, that sentence barely ends before the convoy gets nuked by reality. Rockets hit, Humvees flipping over, soldiers scattering like cockroaches in the light at nighttime. Tony dives out disoriented, and for the first time in his billionaire life, he's seen war up close, not as a seller, but as the merchandise. He crawls behind a rock, blood dripping, breathing hard, when he sees the missile landed right beside him. And right there, big and bold, it's the name Stark Industries. His face drops. I'm talking he confuzzled, flabbergasted. The music cuts, the universe goes,
"Surprise, motherfucker."
Boom, everything goes black.
He needs some milk.
Flashback time, 36 hours earlier, because apparently Tony's trauma needs a PowerPoint presentation. We cut to Las Vegas when Tony starts getting an award for the most chaotic genius alive. But where's Tony? Not at the ceremony. Nah, my guy is out here at the casino playing craps, surrounded by models and bad decisions. Meanwhile, Colonel James, Rhodey Rhodes, his best friend and designated babysitter, is up on stage trying to accept Tony's award. He's reading off all Tony's credentials and accolades like a proud mom who's about this close to whooping him. Tony Stark, visionary, genius, American patriot. Camera cuts, Tony's at the blackjack table like, "Hit me." Bro's literally gambling while being honored for building the military's toys. You can't even script irony better than this. Rhodey finds him afterward and bro is heated. "You supposed to be on stage, boy." Tony's like, "I'm sorry, I was doing a photo shoot for the Vanity Fair." Rhodey's like, "Bro, you unbelievable." And you know Tony, that's the Tony Stark experience in one exchange. We follow him out the casino with Christine Evanhart, a reporter who is supposed to interview him but ends up seeing more of his private tech than she expected, if you know what I mean. They have a quick meeting, and I'm gonna put that in quotes, in his high-tech mansion, and by morning she doing her walk of shame past Pepper Potts, Tony's assistant and low-key the only adult in this franchise. Pepper over here unbothered, hits Christine with the most polite roast of 2008. "I do anything Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash." And I know after Shawty heard that, she knew it was up. Yeah, she's cooked. Christine blinks like she's got spiritually evicted. Pepper walks off, heels clicking, unbothered, straight queen energy. Cut to the Stark Industries jet, which might as well be a nightclub with wings. Rhodey's with Tony again, trying to prep him for his weapons demo. Tony's over here drinking scotch, playing poker, and telling jokes that scream unfiltered billionaire energy. Rhodey was like, "Bro, we're not drinking. We're working, buddy. You're not drinking. I'm working on a new alloy." The flight attendant walked by, all models, all dancing. Rhodey looks offended by the concept of fun. Tony finally convinces him to drink, and now both of them vibing in the air like two uncles at a wedding reception. The man got money, genius, and no sense of restraint, and we love him for it, no cap. Next day, it's weapons demo time. They're out here in the desert surrounded by soldiers and sand. Tony wearing a suit worth more than a tank behind him. He walks up to the podium like it's a TED talk on capitalism. He starts monologuing and jump. "Is it better to be feared or respected? I say, is it too much to ask for both?"
Both is good.
Then he steps aside and shows off his new baby, the Jericho missile. And this thing right here is like a Call of Duty streak on steroids. The thing is straight overkill in rocket form. He hits a button and the sky erupts with explosions like the 4th of July had a baby with the apocalypse. The shockwave literally knocks everyone's sunglasses crooked. Tony just spreads his arm and aura forms like a rock star, soaking in all the applause. They say the best weapon is the one you never have to fire. I respectfully disagree. I prefer the weapon you only have to fire once. And right there, yeah, go ahead and give him a round of applause, because that was straight bars. Bro really said peace through superior firepower, like he was pitching a mixtape.
What's up, man? That's my shit, play that.
Demo ends, soldiers cheer, and Tony's just soaking up the attention. Rhodey's in the back like, yeah, we're never gonna survive this, man. Later that night, Tony's being chauffeured by a military convoy, the same one we saw get ambushed. He's over here cracking jokes and sipping whiskey, thinking about which billion-dollar gadget to build next. Rhodey says, you know you're a national treasure. Tony replies, that's why they lock me up in a box of gold and throw away the key.
Lock me up! Lock me up! Throw away the key!
And then, deja vu. Same convoy, same vibes.
Good vibes.
But this time, we know what's coming. The explosion hits, soldiers drop, and Tony goes down hard. He's dragged away by masked men, blurred vision, ringing ears. The sound design here is crazy too. I'm talking straight muffled chaos. Everything spinning. He sees flashes of his own rockets raining down around him. His life's work literally trying to erase him. Fade to black, and he wakes up in a cave. A car battery attached to his chest by wires like a discount iPhone charger. Bro is on 20%, low power mode. His shirt's off, chest bleeding, panic is everywhere. That's when we meet Jensen, the realest man in the desert. Calm, kind, and holding a soldering tool like it's holy. Don't worry, you're alive for now. Tony's like, what did you do to me, bro? Jensen was like, bro, I saved your life. And then he points to the rig in Tony's chest. There are shrapnel fragments near your heart. I connected this magnet to keep him from reaching it. Translation, Tony just became an off-brand cyborg powered by car parts. Then the door slams open, masked gunmen rush in, and these dudes are the 10 Rings, a terrorist group that looks like a low-level Call of Duty lobby. They toss Tony a camera recorder and make him a deal. Build them the Jericho missile or die. Tony looks around the cave, piles of his own weapons everywhere. His company's logo on every crate. You can literally see the gears turning in his head like, I'm the villain in my own movie. That's crazy. He looks at Jensen, who gives him that, don't be stupid, rich man. You better listen, face. Tony's like, alright, I'll build you the missile. But deep down, he's already planning something way worse for him. So boom, Tony's stuck in this cave like he just respawned in hardcore mode. That night, while guards argue over whose beard is superior, Tony sketches on scrap paper. He looks like he's designing a missile, but the camera zooms in, and nah. Tony unplugs the car battery, wires the new glowing circle into his chest cavity like a DIY surgery tutorial from hell. The light hums to life. First heartbeat of Iron Man. Jensen watches, smiling. That's impressive. Now let's see if it can keep you alive long enough to run. My guy is drawing a suit. Shoulder plates, hydraulics, flamethrowers, the first prototype of built different. And then Jensen peeks over. Jensen was like, you're not actually building the missile, are you? Tony, nope, we're building something way better, buddy. And you know Jensen was like, then I suggest you hurry. They're not patient men. Cut to the montage and we got sparks flying, metal clanging, dramatic music thumping in the background like an EDM track produced by anxiety. Tony's welding with sunglasses made out of desperation. Jensen's fetching parts, whispering and translating and junk, and sneaking lies to the guards. Every time the terrorists peek in, Tony's like, yes, the missile, much explode. Very boom. The next morning, the 10 Rings drag in Raza, their leader with eyeliner sharp enough to cut glass. He inspects Tony's progress and they uncover blueprints, half of which look way too thick for a missile. Raza over here squinting and Tony's sweating bullets but keeps his poker face. The suit, propulsion unit for the stabilization. Raza ain't buying it though. He tells his men, if he's not done by tomorrow, start with the hands. And if you know what that means, that's terrorist talk for shish kebab time. Somebody finna get sliced and diced. Jensen translate for Tony, but conveniently left out that hands part. Legend. They build that night like two kids working on a group project that's due at 12 o'clock p.m. Tony scrounges parts from broken rockets, and Jensen scavenges wires from radio junk, and the two somehow create history out of garbage. Day 20 in the cave, Tony's rougher now. Hair longer, hands burned, heart literally powered by a car battery. Bro look like he done leveled up times 50 in a Skyrim server. But the arc reactor he built is small, glowing, and beautiful. It's the real MVP of the Marvel franchise sitting right in his chest. Jensen stares at it like a proud dad. That is your legacy, Stark. Not destruction, but creation. Tony smiles for half a second before reality check slaps back. Gunfire outside. I'm talking the guards are getting nosy, antsy. Night again, and time to rest the arc reactor. Alright, hold up. Before we get back into this cinematic nonsense, I gotta put y'all on real quick because this video is sponsored by Raycon. Yes sir, we out here. So boom, Raycon's essential open earbuds been carrying my day-to-day life. I can't lie. These things sit right outside your ear canal, so you stay aware of everything around you while still hearing your music crystal clear. Like bro, I can listen to my playlist and hear my girl asking why I'm editing at 4 a.m. That's multitasking. They're lightweight, they don't feel bulky, and that multi-angular rotating ear hook, that thing grips your ear like it owes it money. Whether I'm at the gym, walking the dog, or fake cleaning the house whenever company pulling up, they do not fall off. And let me hype them up real quick because I actually use these mugs. These been my go-to editing earbuds ever since I got them, especially with that 36-hour battery life. 8 hours in the earbuds, 36 in the case. I don't even remember the last time I charged them, and I'm dead serious. Plus, multi-point connection. I can switch from my laptop to my phone without doing that whole Bluetooth fighting for its life routine. And here's the wild part. Raycon gives you premium audio for half the price of the big brands. With over 3 million customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee, you literally can't lose. I use these, and honestly, you should too. Now listen up, because Black Friday is around the corner, and Raycon is doing up to 30% off site-wide, from essentials to their latest releases. This is the perfect time to upgrade your sound or get ahead on some gifting. Just click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/kaijutsuopen. Again, that's buyraycon.com/kaijutsuopen to save up to 30% during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Big shout out to Raycon for sponsoring the video and for keeping my ears open, my sound clean, and my editing sessions slightly less tragic. Now back to the movie. They start assembling the Mark I armor, basically a metal tank with legs. It's ugly, loud, and looks like RoboCop's thrift store cousin, but it's bulletproof and they got a flamethrower. Cue another montage, and Jensen over here hammering bolts, Tony calibrating the hydraulics, both sweating like the AC just died in the crib. Raza eventually catches on that these two are vibing way too hard for missile work. He storms down with half the goons and the cameras begin to flicker. Jensen sees them on the monitor. He looks at Tony halfway into the suit, and Jensen was like, "You completed, I'll buy you some time." Tony was like, "Wait, no, stick to the plan, Jensen." And this where Jensen became the realest one ever. This is the plan. He grabs an old rifle and bolts down the tunnel like a man who already made peace with his destiny. Jensen runs through the cave yelling and firing like a crackhead. Bullets echo, guards scatter, and Tony's inside the suit, sealing the faceplate. System boots up like Windows XP, slow, dramatic, full of hope. Power hits 100%, and then the eyes begin to glow blue. Iron Man Mark I has entered the chat. Drop down on the server ready to push pain. Raza's man corner Jensen and gun him down expeditiously. Tony hears the shots, growls through metal teeth, "Jensen!" He bursts through the door like a tank with feelings. The guards open fire, bullets pinging off the armor like raindrops on a trash can. Tony responds with flamethrowers. Whole room got crisped up like barbecue. He punches a dude so hard, he hits a wall and reconsiders his life choices. Rockets pop from his arm like party favors of doom. Cave walls collapse, smoke everywhere, pure chaos. Tony finds Jensen, and bro is bleeding out on 1 HP behind the debris. The mentor smiles weakly. Jensen was like, "Don't waste your life, Stark." Tony was like, "Come on, we getting out of here, man." But Jensen responded, "My family is dead. I will see them now." Tony kneels, holding him as his last light fades. The first time Tony Stark looks genuinely broken. No jokes, no smirk, just lost. Then the armor sensors start to beat. Bro's spidey sense started going off and enemies over here regrouping. Time for straight vengeance. Tony roars and walks out the smoke like an apocalypse advertisement. Machine gun fire bounces uselessly. He torches trucks, launches micro rockets, and leaves everyone tasting regret and kerosene in that cave. The suits over here smoking, hydraulic wine echoing through the canyon. Raza shows up with an RPG and bro misses.
I don't know. He might have autism. I don't even know him that well. He's a great guy, and I'm glad that he's here.
Like you had one chance. You had one job. What are you doing? Tony retaliates by punching a dude into orbit. Then he looks down at the arc reactor warning. Low power, low power. Jensen's words still ringing. Tony triggers the self-destruct. He launches himself skyward like a bottle rocket made of scrap. The Mark I clears the ridge, flames bursting, then crashes hard into the desert. Armor in pieces, scattering like car parts at a Fast and Furious stunt. And Tony crawls out, half burnt, coughing sand.
Pocket sand.
And alive, which in my head, after falling from that high in the sky,
a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit.
Ain't no metal of armor really saving you from that. He stumbles through the desert for hours, sun baking, wind screaming, billionaire reduced to dust and grit. Helicopters appear on the horizon, and it's Rhodey, the real MVP. Bro leading a rescue team for Bro. Rhodey lands and runs up shouting, "How long were you in there?" Tony, dehydrated but still extra. Days? Weeks? I lost track after 100 days without a martini. Rhodey just laughs and hugs him. Next time you ride in the Humvee with me, bro. And then Tony over here smirking and jump. No more Humvees. Back in America, headlines screaming, Tony Stark rescued. Cameras flashing, news vans chasing. He's wrapped in a blanket like a shiny burrito of trauma. Reporters over here yelling questions and junk, and Pepper's at the hospital, tears mixing with mascara, whispering, "You're alive." Like it's a miracle, and it kinda is. And then comes Obadiah Stane, his father's old partner and current bald with bad vibes executive, visits with that fake friendly energy rich people use when they're plotting something. Stane was like, "We thought we lost you, Tony." Tony was like, "I almost lost me too." Then Stane gonna be like, "We're gonna get you everything you need, buddy." Tony like, "Yeah, I need a cheeseburger."
Cheeseburgers.
Cue to the Burger King drive-thru, and because Tony Stark's trauma diet is sponsored by saturated fats, man chomps a Whopper down like it's a Holy Communion. And now it's press conference time. Stane ready with that PR spin. Reporters expecting another weapons flex. Instead, he grabs the mic, clears his throat, and says the most uncapitalist sentence of 2008. "I saw young Americans killed by the very weapons I created. Effective. Immediately. Stark Industries will no longer manufacture weapons." The room is silence. You can hear crickets playing in the background. Stane was looking confused as ever, and Pepper was low-key all in for it, but you can see the panic in her eyes too. Tony drops the mic and literally walks out mid-press conference, munching on fries like punctuation. The military, shareholders, and every defense lobbyist in America all scream into the void. Tony don't care though. He's on his redemption arc now. So boom, the press conference just detonated the stock market. Wall Street over here crying. I'm talking shareholders calling lawyers, and every Pentagon suit currently throwing darts at a photo of Tony Stark. Meanwhile, Tony's chilling in his Malibu mansion like he didn't just cancel half the military industrial complex before lunch. Pepper's trying to run damage control. Tony, the board's freaking out. Tony shrugs that junk off, sipping green juice he probably doesn't even like. Tony was like, "Tell them to build something that saves lives instead." And Pepper was like, "They can't even build a PowerPoint without you." Tony's eyes drift to that glowing circle in his chest. The camera lingers on it, his literal second chance humming like a conscience. He heads downstairs to the workshop, which honestly looks like NASA and a bachelor pad had a baby. You got holograms, car lifts, random robots, and Dummy, his overeager robotic arm assistant that behaves like a toddler with a fire extinguisher. Tony talks to his AI like it's therapy. "We're gonna streamline the armor. Version 2, no more cave trash." Jarvis, his calm British AI replies, "Shall I render a 3D prototype?" Tony was like, "Yeah, and make it hot rod red and silver." Something that says less trauma and more drama. And then we get another montage. We get pure peak engineering. Holographic schematics over here spinning, 3D models assembling, metal clanging, EDM humming. Tony's over here testing thrusters on his hand like a kid discovering chaos. First attempt, he fires one palm repulsor indoors. Result, he hits the ceiling so hard, the house needs new drywall now. And Dummy over here, ever so helpful, sprays him with the fire extinguisher like, I got you, boss. Tony coughs through the foam like, next time, bro, I'm selling you for parts. He calibrates the boot thrusters next, hovers 6 inches off the floor, grins, then slams backward into the sports car. Jarvis with that British shade on levels of 9,000. May I suggest a helmet, sir? Cue to the arc reactor upgrade, and Tony builds a sleeker mini version. Silver blue glow, more efficient. He hands the old one to Pepper, and Tony was like, this is proof that Tony Stark has a heart. It's half a joke, half confession. And Pepper over here smiling like she knows it's the nicest thing he ever said. Meanwhile, across town, Obadiah Stane is having a board meeting that smells like betrayal and expensive cigars. The execs over here complaining about stocks dropping. Stane spins in like a pro liar. Don't worry, Tony's just emotional. Translation, he's messing with my bag. But then a shady 10 Rings video hits his inbox. Raza's gang found the scattered Mark I pieces. They send proof, a box of rusty metal labeled Stark Industries. Obadiah's face twitches. Instead of reporting it, he calls in his private engineers. We're gonna take a look at this relic. Ah, snap. It's finna get hectic in this mug. Back at Malibu, Tony's still experimenting. Shirt off, AC on blast, doing cardio in genius form. He's building Mark II, the first sleek silver prototype. Jarvis warns him, altitude tests are ill-advised until icing problems are resolved, sir. Tony was like, icing problems? I ain't no cupcake. He climbs into the metal harness, robot arms snapping plates onto him like he's dressing an action figure. Helmets click, HUD lights up, and then the theme music hums real low. Tony was like, let's see if this thing can fly. The thrusters engage and bro starts levitating, hovering, tilts forward, and Jarvis was like, easy. Easy, sir, easy. Tony rockets straight through the ceiling like he forgot what ceilings are. I know Michael Jordan was like, the ceiling really is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof.
Cut to the sky and he's screaming, spinning, laughing like a man reborn. Yeah, baby. Next time, I'm bringing AC/DC back. He zooms over the ocean, flips, and does barrel rolls just like physics can't stop him now. Jarvis reads, altitude 10,000 feet, 15,000, 25,000. Then comes the icing warning. The suit frosts up and the power starts dipping. Tony was like, Jarvis, what's the freezing rating on this? Jarvis was like, it appears you've reached it, sir. Whole system locks up mid-air, bro stiff as a mug. Tony plummets like a silver meteor. He reboots the power in free fall, hits the thrusters just in time before he gets turned into grits and barely lands through his own roof again. Dummy sprays foam once again with that comedic timing. Tony over here groaning and jump. And then the movie hits us with that DJ Khaled.
Another one.
Cause we get another montage, and this right here is 2.0. Tony polishes the design, new alloys, gold titanium plating, color adjustments. He tells Jarvis, throw a little red in there, and something classic. Jarvis renders it hot rod red and gold, and Tony was like, now that's how you flex responsibility. Meanwhile, Peppers is trying to keep Stark Industries from imploding while Tony hides in the basement like a mad scientist. Stane visits and bro is all smiles. Stane was like, the board is worried about you, Tony. And Tony was like, they should be worried for me. Stane over here like, just remember, you're not the only adult in this company. And Tony was like, you're right, you're the bald one. And right there, I realized Tony was really a hoe for real, cause why'd you even have to say that? As Stane leaves, he side-eyes the arc reactor glow peeking through Tony's shirt. You can practically hear the evil scheming intensify. Later, Tony finally completes the Mark III suit. Red, gold, sleek, and shiny. This mug looked like a cutscene from Midnight Club. If you're a real one, you know about that game. And that mug was straight peak. He loads up Jarvis, links comms, stretches his neck like an athlete before the Olympics. And Tony was like, all right, let's run before we walk. Jarvis over here like, sir, may I remind you that you've been awake for 43 hours. Tony over here, perfect, I'll sleep in the future. Doors open and the music cues. He blasts out the tunnel like a missile with style, breaking the sound barrier in this mug. Pure cinema. He rockets above the Malibu's cliffside, loops through the clouds, and casually overflies a commercial airplane. Pilots radios in a UFO. Military over here panicking and junk. And Tony was like, no worries, just your friendly neighborhood capitalist here. Jarvis tracks vitals, heart rate 120, altitude 85,000. Tony done hit the stratosphere and bro over here icing again. Tony was like, okay, guess we're still freezing. He drops back down, hits Mach 2, and streaks across the night sky like a comet in a Gucci belt. Lands perfectly in his garage over here oil farming. Then the armor locks mid-pose. Jarvis was like, power restored in 5, 4. Tony done face planted. Cut to Stane visiting the 10 Rings camp in Afghanistan, and Raza's bragging about holding Stark's pieces hostage. Stane shows up like, cute. Pulls out a sonic paralyzer, this weird tuning fork gadget that freezes Raza's gang mid-sentence.
See, I pulled a sneaky on you.
He strolls around like an evil DJ, collects all the Mark 1 parts, and says, technology belongs to the man with the resources. You realize then, this man didn't shave his head for aerodynamics. He's over here plotting a corporate coup d'etat. Back at the lab, and Tony's watching the news of the Afghan village destroyed by Stark weapons, his face dropping. Same logo, same pain. That's when he decides the armor's not for play, it's payback time. He loads target coordinates, powers up the suit, and walks toward the platform. Dummy over here waving that tiny fire extinguisher like a hype man. And Tony was like, if you douse me again, I'm donating you to Goodwill. Boots at night, and boom, the tunnel explodes in light as Iron Man goes on his first real mission. Jarvis over here narrating like an NPR host for Chaos. Target locked. Gomira, Jensen's home village, currently being terrorized by the 10 Rings goons waving Tony Stark's guns like party favors. Tony was like, alright Jarvis, engage heads up display. Check, sir. Set destination. Gomira, sir. We're gonna put some respect on Jensen's name, Jarvis. Screams, smoke, trucks, gunmen dragging people from homes, families huddled, and old man knocked down. It's straight ugly. The sky rumbles and a red gold meteor lands like an exclamation mark at the end of a sentence. The music dips and everyone turns. Tony once again aura farming, just standing there like a final boss. One guy opens fire, bullets ping off and sparks off his chest plate cause that mug did no damage. Tony targets the gun truck and Jarvis was like, missile lock, sir. Tony, light him up, Jarvis. Boom! Micro missile threads the needle and annihilates the truck. Bad guys go flying like rag dogs in a tornado. Another group corrals villagers in a square. Guns raised, full execution mode. Tony lands between them and the civilians. Fire, fire, fire! Ting, ting, ting. He takes a whole magazine to the face like, sir, be serious. Do you see what I'm wearing? Then he fires a cluster of smart micro darts. Helmet POV shows lines linking targets. 5 red dots. Tony was like, good night. Fire, 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 fire! 5 bad guys drop simultaneously like bad Wi-Fi. Then a tank rolls into frame. And okay, so now we're doing armor versus armor. Tony looks at it and tilts his head and sidesteps a tank shell like he heard it coming from yesterday. He fires a small missile off his forearm, turns around, and does not watch it. Bro walks off smooth as ever like he knew that mug was hard. The tank explodes behind him in the single cockiest walk-off in superhero history. If sunglasses could have appeared on the helmet, they would've. And that mug would've had him with a little blunt in the mouth talking about some da 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 da. It's the real double G, Snoop Dogg. Cause that junk right there was hard as a mug. He scans the village, thermals pinging, civilians screaming, gunmen dragging a kid and his mom into an alley. Tony sprints, body checks a thug into the wall, punts another across the courtyard like a field goal. Then he cuts the handcuffs off the civilians with a wrist laser. Then he says the most casually reassuring line anyone's ever said while dressed like a flying tank. You're okay now. He jets upward, tracks a pickup fleeing with a hostage in the back. Bro pivots and yoinks the guy out mid-flight, dropping him into a hay cart gentle as DoorDash. The driver looks up like, thanks, weird robot. Bad guys scramble into their final car. Tony rips the engine out that mud like he's shopping for souvenirs. He scans one last building and guess who inside? That boy Raza, scowling in his eyeliner, ducking out a back door like a roach. Tony marks him, but prioritizes the civilians. The suit's not about the scoreboards, it's about Jensen's promise. Villagers cheer, Tony hovers the beat, soaking in that we're saved energy, then peels out for home because the US military just noticed a UFO committing righteous violence in broad daylight. Cut to Edwards at the Air Force Base and the radar is over here lighting up. Rhodey gets a call like, we got an unidentified bogey, speed, Mach 2, possible hostiles down in Afghanistan. Rhodey over here squinting. Tony, what did you do, bro? He dials Tony up and bro is like, tell me that's not you, bro. Tony over here breathing hard as a mug. Define that. Rhodey was like, the thing that just violated half our airspace. And Tony was like, Okay then, yeah, a little bit. Rhodey hangs up and scrambles 2 F-22 Raptors anyway because friendship has limits. And also, the Pentagon exists. Tony rockets over a mountain range, gets locked on by targeting systems, and Jarvis was like, incoming aircraft, sir. Tony over here like, they can't be that mad. The missiles was like, yeah, we that mad. 2 AIM-120 straight toward him like angry bees. Tony dives, skims a lake, missiles splash, and he threads a canyon. 1 jet follows, the pilot over here sweating, yelling into the mic, and now Tony over here trying diplomacy. Tony was like, this is Tony Stark. It's a very expensive suit. Please don't shoot me. Pilot over here like, break right, ignores bro completely. Tony extends his countermeasure flares, jukes him again, 1 missile loses the lock. The remaining Raptor locks guns, and Tony's over here spinning around, perches on the jet wing like a hawk, and politely knocks. Hi. Pilot over here panicking. The wing wobbles and a chute deploys from the back when the WSO ejects. His parachute over here tangled up like a mug. Tony pulls away, circles back, and saves bro by cutting the chute free. He sets the guy down intact like a very shiny paramedic. Tony over here on Rhodey's line like, okay, that one was me, but you're welcome. Rhodey over here like, I'm gonna hang up on you again, bro. Tony dips and Rhodey tells Command it was a training exercise. Like, bro, that was not a training exercise. Be for real now. This has to be the most creative lie of his career, cause that mug worked. Back home, Tony lands in the garage, armor sizzling like a mug. Pepper done stormed in now. Were you just in Afghanistan, Tony? No. Okay, yes. Yes, I was. She's over here furious and terrified and proud and trying not to admit it. He tells her, I have to fix what my weapons broke. Pepper's eyes done softened immediately. That's the moment she realizes Tony's not playing superhero. He's making amends. Meanwhile, villain workshop time, cause Obadiah rolls into a secret facility with crates of recovered Mark I parts. Engineers stare like kids at Christmas. Obadiah leans in and bro is like, build me this bigger. They hit the same wall, the arc reactor. No power source small and strong enough to power this thing. Chief Engineer swallows hard cause he knows he's cooked and says the line that launched 1,000 memes. We've tried everything. We can't miniaturize the power source. Obadiah over here heated as a mug. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. Engineer over here shaking in his boots. I'm not Tony Stark. Clearly. You can hear bro ego cracking like ice in a highball glass. Back in Malibu, Tony's over here eating 42 cheeseburgers worth of calories to replace the energy he just burned, starting a geopolitical incident. He watches the news and Gomera villagers hugging, kids smiling, then the screen shifts. Reports of Stark weapons popping up all over, feeding wars he helped arm. He winces. This is not a one and done. This is a cleanup on our Earth. He heads to the workbench and Pepper arrives with the paperwork. Tony stops her. I need you to do something for me. She over here squinting in junk. He asks her to go into the company's secure server and pull the shipping manifest. Anything that shows illegal sales, double entries, and off-book transfers. Tony really over here clocking some tea. Pepper's like, Tony, that's corporate treason. And Tony was like, it's also Tuesday. She stares at him, then nods. Okay, I'll get what you need. Obadiah's mask done slipped up now. He meets with the 10 rings again, and surprise, he was the one who had them kidnap Tony in the first place. Man tried to co-founder delete him. Raza over here scared and jump. Scared from the Gomera beatdown, wants payment for failing. Obadiah smiles, pulls out the sinister sonic paralytic again, and turns the whole tent into a freeze frame. He calmly collects the documents, inspects the Mark I blueprints, then tells his men to finish up. The camera pulls back on silhouetted bodies. Yep, villain confirmed. Bro just greased all them. Pepper sneaks into Obadiah's office using Tony's credentials. She plugs that little USB into the download files, heart pounding like dubstep. She finds what Tony feared. Obadiah done authorized the sales to the 10 rings and rerouted their weapons after Tony shut down the division. Pepper over here trying to catch her breath. Obadiah isn't just shady, he's the puppet master of it all. She hits print and then almost get caught as Obadiah walks in. She plays it cool, hands him a fake board report, and smiles politely while her soul is sprinting out of her chest. She slips out and heads straight for Agent Phil Coulson. Remember bro, the most patient shield man alive? Pepper was like, I have proof. Illegal arms trading, kidnapping, everything, all you need. Coulson was like, we'll need you to lead us to the evidence. And Pepper was like, great, because I stole the map. Back at the lab, Tony installs a sleeker arc reactor. The Mark II version, Pepper done made a trophy out of it and sits it on his desk as a display ring engraved, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. He stares at it and then looks at the news, then at his gloves, and decision is made. He calls Rhodey, finally confessing, yeah bro, I'm Iron Man, even though you already knew it. Rhodey rubs his temples like a single dad. Bro is cooked. I was right in the air and you didn't think to tell me? Tony was like, it was a prototype, bro. Rhodey looks at a silver test suit design hanging nearby. Next time, you can bring me one. Tony glances at it and the camera lingers. Easter egg secured. Cause in the next movies, yeah, he finna get to cooking. Meanwhile, Obadiah over here furious his engineers can't miniaturize the reactor, decides on planned crime, steal Tony's. He pays Tony a friendly visit at home with pizza and betrayal. Tony over here relaxed and jump. Wrong move, buddy. Obadiah whips out that sonic paralytic, freezes him in his place, and yanks the arc reactor out of Tony's chest with the coldest line. Bro is like, this is how you do it, Tony. This is how you steal a company. Tony collapses and bro is gasping, dying even. Stane leaves him there to fade out like a bad stock chart. Tony over here crawling across the lab, eyes dimming, fingers dragging toward the glass case with the old clunky reactor. The trophy Pepper made, proof he has a heart. Bro rips the case open and shoves it into his chest. Sparks over here flying. Tony was like, not ideal, but it'll do. He staggers up just as Peppers calls, breathless. I'm at the factory with Coulson. You need to see this. Tony's face hardens. On my way. Camera cuts to a shadow rising in a massive hangar. Obadiah's monstrous exosuit, the Iron Monger. That name trash. Powering up with Tony's stolen arc reactor. Metal plates locked, eyes glowing. The roars shake the room. It's about to get real stupid, real fast. Bro over here at the lab literally sitting in a metal skyscraper suit powered by the heart he yanked out of Tony Stark's chest. It's like someone welded a tank to a forklift and gave it daddy issues. The camera pans to Tony stumbling into his workshop like he just got jumped by somebody. He jams a wire into the old arc reactor, systems flicker, and Jarvis barely powers back up. Tony over here croaking. Jarvis, we're gonna have to go old school. Jarvis was like, sir, may I remind you that the Mark III's flight systems are untested on the backup reactor. Tony was like, if I don't fly, Pepper gonna die. And Jarvis understood the mission. Pepper meanwhile walks through the dark factory floor with Agent Coulson as his squad shield extras holding flashlight like Scooby-Doo in body armor. She's halfway through explaining big metal thing, glowy chest, when the walls start thudding. Lights over here flickering and Coulson whispers, what is that sound? Pepper was like, that is not a sound, that's karma. Metal fingers the size of Teslas punch through the floor and Ironmonger rises out, steam hissing, Obadiah's voice booming from inside. Dude was like, how ironic, Tony built this in a cave, now it's gonna bury him. He starts mowing down columns like paper straws. Pepper over here screaming for the agents to scatter and Coulson tries to radio for backup, straight static, no one's hearing it. Ironmonger steps through the wall like Kool-Aid Man XL and heads topside, and then enters Tony, still booting up mid-flight, streaking toward the factory. He lands real hard, armor dented, one of his thrusters over here coughing up smoke. Bro really came to beat the final boss with a backup plan. Tony was like, Obi, we need to talk about the employee review process. And dude was like, you're late for your own funeral, Tony. They clash and it's straight metal on metal, sparks raining like the 4th of July. Tony's suit faster, but Obadiah's way stronger. Every punch sounds like a car accident. They smash through machines, fall through floors, launch rockets point blank. Tony's over here ducking under forklifts, firing a poster blast straight into the Ironmonger's shoulder. Obadiah shrugs it off like, bro, I'm a DLC boss, get real. Tony tries some aerial jump, boosts upward and grabs Obadiah and rockets them both through the roof. Factory ceiling disintegrates. Alarms over here wailing and jump. They shoot up straight into the night sky and the city lights over here glimmering below. Real peaceful, right? Nah. Obadiah was like, you really think you can stop me with that tiny toy of yours? And you know Tony was like, actually, yeah, toys sell better. They break cloud level and ice starts forming around Ironmonger's suit. Tony remembers his first flight mishap and smirks. Tony was like, yeah, I've got this one. Bro said, how'd you solve the icing problem? And dude was like, what icing problem? snap to reality. Cause Obadiah's suit freezes, everything locks up, and he plummets like an anvil. Tony dives right after him, power flickering, catches a glimpse of the Ironmonger exploding through the roof of Tony Stark's building on impact. Bro hit that junk hard as a mug. Tony crash lands nearby, thrusters fried, power at 15%. Over here breathing heavy and junk. He limps toward the building's glass atrium. Inside, Obadiah claws out of the wreckage like a zombie made of tanks. His armor steaming, but still functional. You're still alive? Cool. Obadiah was like, you've outdone yourself, Tony, but I'll finish the job. He grabs Tony by the throat, slams him against a generator, and sparks flying everywhere. Tony blasts a repulsor at point blank, and it barely makes a dent. Obadiah over here growling and junk. Jarvis whispers, power at 9%, sir. And Tony whispers back, give me something, Jarvis. And this where Jarvis started cooking up. You could reroute the power from the chest to one repulsor, sir. Do it. He fires. Beam clips Obadiah's faceplate, half melting that mug. Obadiah over here roaring, cause I know that junk hurt. He backhands Tony across the roof, sends him skidding dangerously close to the arc reactor skylight, powering the entire complex. Pepper down below with the shield team, looking up through the glass, and Tony yells over the comms, Pepper, you need to overload the big reactor and blow it up now. And you know Pepper worried as ever. That will kill you too. Tony was like, we'll call it even. Pepper hesitates, hands trembling over the control console. Coulson nods like, we blow things up for a living, ma'am. She slams the override, alarms goes nuclear. Up top, Tony lures Obadiah to stand right over the reactor core. You want my legacy? Come take it. Obadiah charges in cause he done got raise baited. Bro grabs him, claws sparking. Below, the energy over here building up like the final blow. White light pulsing, panels glowing like a rave. Tony was like, Pepper, push the button. And finally that mug exploded, straight through the floor in a column of plasma. Electricity engulfs both of them. Tony somehow done got thrown clear of it with that plot armor cause he was really supposed to get hit too. Obadiah over here screaming as the surge fries his suit and turns his brain into smoothie ingredients. His chest light blows out like a dying star. Bro done tumbled backward into the reactor pit, swallowed up by the blast. The entire roof implodes. Tony's barely hanging off the ledge, reactor glow fading under him, and Pepper runs in calling his name through static and dust. He looks up, manages a grin, and Tony being Tony. How was that for a prototype? Terrifying? And Tony was like, good, let's build another one. The morning after, fire trucks, news vans, corporate lawyers, California Chaos 101. This just your average Tuesday. Tony sits on the ambulance bumper with a donut IV drip. Rhodey walks up and bro was like, next time I'm wearing the suit. And Tony was like, next time I'm sleeping. Coulson strolls over with his classic polite Fed energy. Mr. Stark, we'll handle the cover story. Tony raises an eyebrow. Cover story? Coulson slides him a folder. You were on your yacht. No suit, no superhero. Simple. Tony nods, pretending to listen while 100% planning to ignore everything. And Coulson was like, and we'll have a press conference in an hour. Just read the cards. And Tony was like, cards? Got it. Coulson was like, my name's Phil, by the way. Shield. And now it's press conference time. Cameras flashing, journalists over here screaming. Pepper's over here whispering, stick to the cards. Rhodey over here standing nearby sweating PR bullets cause Tony is not trained. Tony steps up to the mic, looks at the paper. I was on my yacht. He reads half a sentence, pauses, smirks. A reporter yells, was that man in the armor Iron Man? Tony glances at Pepper, she shakes her head, and he grins even wider. Y'all already know what Tony finna do. Bro was like, I'm not the hero type, clearly. But the truth is, and then Rhodey mutters, he's gonna do it. Oh my goodness.
I am Iron Man.
Boom, flash bulbs explode, reporters erupt, and AC/DC slams in the background once again. Tony just smirks into chaos like he invented fame. Cutting to the credits rolling over blueprints, newspaper headlines, schematics. The world is losing collective mind. Kids everywhere about to try flying with cardboard boxes like they Iron Man. Somebody finna get a collarbone broken or something. But wait, Marvel isn't done flexing, cause in that post-credit scene, we get that straight recruitment energy. Tony's back in his mansion, lights low, he strolls into the living room and someone's already there. Shadowed figure, eye patch, calm voice. You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you've just become part of a bigger universe. You don't even know it yet. Tony over here squinting and junk like, And you are? The man steps into the light and it's Nick Fury. Black trench coat, eye patch glinting, and bro is like, I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative. And that's where Peak gets kicked off. Tony's mouth opens to reply and it cuts to black. Hey JMF, thanks for all the support on the vids lately. We moving. Anyways, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that hype button down there in the comments. And get ready for today's script of the vid. Today, we're heading to the book of Psalm, chapter 113, verse 3. From the rising of the sun until the going down of the same, the Lord's name is to be praised. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for just once again waking us up this morning to enjoy a video, to have the chance to congregate with our friends and family, dear Lord. We can't thank you enough for all the blessings and mercy and grace and love that you show us on a daily basis. And like the scripture of today's vid said, your name is always to be praised, dear Lord. Your glory, your honor, everything is to be worshiped. You are the Alpha, the Omega, and the one who created us all, dear Lord. You're the beginning and the end. And without you, we are nothing. And once again, with you, we are everything. We are healed. We are loved. We are forgiven. So thank you, dear Lord. We pray these words in your name. Amen.
See ya. Jutsu Mafia, hidden technique, teeth,